Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestle Hut. I am Andrew Sennedra. This is the Blueberry Man, Captain Witchfingers, and today we're talking about whether AEW's factions are messy or are they not. There seems to be a lot more of them. There's members coming and going, names are changing. It does seem like it's getting a little convoluted, right? Like, it's getting a little crazy especially the abrupt changes in some of them. You know, people are randomly gone all of a sudden and there's new members. So we're going to dive into that a little bit, and hopefully you guys, can shed some light on this as well. Tell us what you think. Are their factions getting a little too out of hand? So first off, I just want to talk about like what happened to the Inner Circle, and then we got the Jericho Appreciation Society like randomly the next week. All of a sudden, one's disbanded, one's got new people. It's very chaotic, sort of, and abrupt. Not really any sort of flow to it. It was just bam.
Yeah, that was kind of weird because like it kind of made sense, but then it kind of didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like 1 second, 2.0 was like beating up Jericho.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you don't appreciate him because like, you took that beating and then the game was like. I don't understand, but then on the flip side, it does kind of make sense because, like, I think Proud and Powerful and Sammy Guevara can go fight on their own. Yeah. So they're big enough, and then 2.0 kind of needed like a boost, so now he's hanging out with Jericho, so.
Yeah, and I just thought it was like maybe but the thing is, like, they didn't say if it was a plot. Like, did they attack Jericho and it was all just a plot? Against like Kingston and Proud and Powerful, like, so we never found out if that was like a plot that they were trying to attack Jericho and make it look like this, right? But we never found out. So that would have made sense if they did announce that. But no, they just attack him, and that's what it looks like, as you said. So
it would kind of be funny. It was a plot like, oh, they nearly killed him, and like they put him out for the shelf for like 3 weeks. Like, thanks, guy, you nearly killed me for the plot just to trick the Inner Circle.
Yeah, right. Like, so that's where I can see. Yeah, you're right that it is kind of confusing there. And I personally like the Inner Circle more. Unfortunately, like, they didn't change Jake Hager. I have no idea why he is. He's there. I'm guessing Jericho just is a buddy of his and keeps him in there, but he's kind of a useless golem that just lingers around. And
yeah, I figured they could probably got a cheaper bodyguard because I figured he's kind of expensive. And like when they were doing like the whole turn thing, I knew 100% that like Jake's not gonna turn. He's gonna stay loyal to Jericho.
Oh, he has to.
Yeah, he has to, right? He doesn't talk. He needs Jericho to talk for him.
Yeah.
He's just a hired gun.
He acts like WWE. How did they screw up Jake Hager? I think everybody does. But and then we move on to the Pinnacle. That one's sort of, we see that like, yeah, the Wardlow was building, but now FTR seems to be sort of 50-50. We don't really know. Are they staying now? Are they going? Is the Pinnacle going to be 2 people? Is it literally going to be, MJF and his crony Sean Spears? Is he going to add more people to the Pinnacle to sort of redevelop it or something? So that one's kind of getting a little chaotic as well.
Yeah, they just like kicked out the one guy with the War Dog, and then FTR is like, I don't know about this, and like I find like that faction, they didn't really like go to war with too many factions. It was something
they really only had one.
Yeah, I just recall like the one big one with Inner Circle, and then
everything else was pretty much just they all still had their own rivalries.
Yeah, they did their own thing. It wasn't really like a true faction kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
not like NWO where 12 people come out that beat up Sting or something.
Yeah, right. So it was like a loosely faction based.
Yeah, and then. Dark Order is definitely one that seems to have no direction anymore. They did for a little bit with Hangman doing his thing, and there was a bit of like drama, and they're helping them out against the Elite and so on. But now it just seems like there's people and they're just doing things, and I don't even know who's going where or whatever. I think they need to reestablish themselves.
Yeah, I think they're kind of stuck in limbo kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to rival with like House of Black. And the House of Black can like spit that black mist in their face and to kind of turn them darker kind of thing.
Or at least a couple of them turn, right? Like they need some credibility, some toughness like they did in the beginning.
So like with that idea, I don't know if that destroys the faction or not, but then it kind of creates some confusion. It adds to the storyline kind of thing on like, why these guys going. I don't know. I think the good sides like kind of played it out with its role. So now you can go dark. I like the dark and evil side. Evil Uno sitting on a bunch of imps. I don't know. I like it.
I thought it was much better when they were darker, and I feel like they could easily play off, like easily Uno and Grayson can play a darker role and a more heel side. Maybe not so much John Silver anymore.
Oh, and we need to see more of those two, Evil Uno and Grayson, as a tag team. Purely as a tag team. Like, they've been living under the shadows. I think it's time for them to
because
steal the spotlight.
Pretty much any tag team match they can work with so many people, and they put on like really good matches. They're not generic, like Bryan Danielson with just kicks and slaps. There's something. Yeah, that's a good segue into the Blackpool whatever the hell club they are.
Yeah.
These guys that just like meat and potatoes brutalize people, but it's the same, template every single match. It's the same attitude. We're gonna beat people up and kick and slap them, but they don't bring any. I don't feel like the enthusiasm. How come Minoru Suzuki can make a match that's meat and potatoes interesting? It's because he has a character. The way he is, his entity, his essence, his aura, whatever you want to call it. The way he delivers things compared to the way they do. I don't know. I don't feel it as much, and I'm just really not really into their brand of wrestling.
Yeah, I don't really care about that gimmick, how they're like hard dudes with punching and kicking and choking people out. But I wonder if they're gonna maybe like do some sort of storyline with American Top Team, because like they have a similar style. So I don't know, we'll see.
Hard dudes. And then we got all of, the undisputed elite now. So we got like a faction that's been reinvented 3 times in 3 different organizations, sort of like all the way from ROH. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I could see them like, reviving themselves, sort of like, having the Young Bucks join. I didn't really think there was going to be too much bad blood between Young Bucks and Red Dragon. I thought it was going to unite. It might fall apart again, especially when Kenny comes back. I think he will cause maybe something like that, a rift, so I think that one's decent. It has some good stuff. You got the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, 2 teams that are similar but different. There's a Matt or a technician type of team though that really works. Like watch Kyle O'Reilly. He really moves around and does cool stuff. Him and Bobby Fish are strikers and stuff, can do that, but they can also do a lot more. And I think that's what I meant by like separating them, Red Dragon compared to like Mox and Danielson in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for them to kind of merge into a group before like Kenny comes in and kind of implodes it, and then
the group.
You kind of have like a rivalry or something like that. I don't know.
Well, when Kenny comes back, it's 3-on-3, right? Right now, it can't be 3-on-3. You got Kenny and Cole at the helm, right? And then those 2 teams, Young Bucks and Red Dragon, going toe to toe. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Or like Kenny tries to come into that faction, and then like Cole like tries to like step him aside or something like that, and then he doesn't like it, and then.
Well, Kenny was the one trying to he poisoned everybody on BTE to get rid of, people. Like,
well, see, Adam Cole remember. He's like, you poisoned me.
You guys killed me once or whatever, right? So.
Don't trust you.
Maybe that's something they could do as a storyline on BTE. And then we got, a handful of other factions that are doing their thing. Team Taz. They're just sort of doing their thing. I'm fine with like whatever they're doing. They seem to be working as a unit just fine. Best Friends, sort of. That's all right. They're just sort of
limbo.
Limbo, funking around. I like that they have Danhausen coming out trying to curse people or something.
Yeah,
he should maybe sort of stick around them. I would like that. I don't mind Wheeler Yuta. Whatever he's doing, leaving them and doing his tough guy, hard dude gimmick. That's fine, go ahead. And then, we got the Factory as well, which I don't mind. I think you keep them around, it's good, because you're going to need heels to beat. It's just unfortunate because I think Nick Comoroto can probably beat a lot of the guys in there. But overall, I think it's a good faction to keep as like heels that are sort of lower down that people can beat, right? You're going to need those. That are credible wrestlers that can work with all kinds of people. They can wrestle anybody from like the Ass Boys to the Acclaim to the Bucks, and
it's like one of those jobber factions that
but at the same time they have a bit of credibility because they're able to get some wins at the same time, right? And then I think personally my favorite faction, just because, or one of my 2 favorite factions, the House of Black. I just, love the darkness. I love the theatrics, the metaphors, the vignettes that Malachi Black does. Brody King is awesome. I don't really know Buddy Matthews too well. He sort of fits and doesn't fit. He's like the buff, like Brody King calls him. He's like a really buff priest. So he sort of fits what they do. But I just like their aura and their energy, and they really put on good matches together. They all can work together well, singles well, and then obviously them against Death Triangle, I think really goes hand in hand, against each other. Pac, he's the other buff priest, maybe. And Penta Obscuro and Phoenix. Too bad it wasn't Dark Phoenix, but still.
Yeah, I want to see Black Phoenix.
I still liked what they were doing, especially with Abrahantes for a bit as like this weird evil druid, creepy ass looking dude. Like I like those two factions the most because they sort of give a supernatural paranormal entity, which is a bit of a throwback to Lucha Underground, which we liked the most. So those two I think are my favorite ones, not even just based on like character and stuff, but they're awesome wrestlers as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think those two are like one of my favorite factions as well, kind of thing. And there's like the black and the aura they have. Like when they came in to jump the Varsity Blondes, they just cornered them in all the corners. But they didn't attack them right away. They just stayed on for like 10 seconds. And the Varsity Blonde's like, what's going on? And then they jumped in and sneak attack. Right?
Yeah, Pillman had a what's going on like Madison Bumgarner when he was getting his hand massaged by that creepy ass He was like, it was perfect. And so yeah, and I like you said, is like they have that theatrics to them, and then the mist maybe can play a part sort of into hypnotizing, or maybe not hypnotizing, but like abducting people's souls, like Julia.
I called that Julia heart turning on them.
But she didn't turn on them.
But I still foresee that one day she's gonna grab that shovel or that chair and it's gonna.
Well, they should really do something with that. I think, maybe bring Abaddon in as a pet. To hell, I don't know. So tell us what you think down in the comments below about what you think about these factions, and maybe some fantasy factions of like people you think should be joining, leaving, coming together as units, like Lance Archer randomly with Wardlow and Miro or something, something like that. Never know. But just feel free to message us down in the comments. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you don't, you can give us a thumbs down and say we suck, because we really don't give a damn. Like Madison Bumgarner, we'll F you up. Till next time, folks. How about some heavy wrestling?